Welcome to my tutorial video on how to install UlnoIoT on macOS. So you see I'm actually running macOS here in the background, and I will show you how you get all the parts to install UlnoIoT on a Raspberry Pi. So I might make another video how you can install it on a Linux computer yourself, and there will be a video how to install it on a PC. So if you install it on a PC, Windows PC, just check out this tutorial video. So you want to install UlnoIoT, so you just Google for UlnoIoT, and one of the first hits should be this. So you go here, and then you scroll down, and you probably read everything what is here, but you also can read here if you're impatient and want to dive into it right now. Fast forward to installation, and there you find everything you need for the installation of the Raspberry Pi image. So the first thing we have to do, we have to download the Raspberry Pi image. So we actually need 4 things on macOS. So there's the Raspberry Pi image. So let's get that one started. So download and download. Anyway, if it says something here about that the bandwidth cap has been exhausted, then you have to add this file to your Google Drive, and then can you still download. So download it. And it says something about virus check because it's too big, but we will actually use a checksum later to verify that we downloaded the right thing here. So let's save that. And then we also need, as you see here, Etcher. Etcher will be the program which we use to flash the image we just downloaded onto an SD card for the Raspberry Pi. So we will download that for macOS X. And what else do we need? We need iTerm and Xquartz. So let's also download iTerm. Click on download here. Download that. And we need Xquartz. And we need Xquartz. See, if you have a fast internet connection, that should be all pretty fast. And then you install these 3 things like you do it on Apple, and then you can actually continue. I have installed these already, so you can actually with Spotlight search for Etcher, and then Etcher opens. And the image should be there in a second. See, the image has just been downloaded. So we say select image, and we take here the it's actually, I have prepared the downloads, but it's also already now here in download. You can take this one, and then you have to actually put in an SD card. So make sure you have a class 10 SD card with at least 8 GB memory, and then not too modern or weird SD card reader. So a normal one, like something cheap like this, should actually work pretty well. So you pop the SD card in there, plug it into your USB port, and after a short while, it should show that it found a drive, and you see it's now here. And then we are able to flash. You have to provide your credentials. And it unmounts the device automatically for you and does the flashing. And then it does a verification step. So it will actually take a while, so 20 to 30 minutes, and then you will have it on there. So I actually highly suggest that you do the verification process to make sure your reader is correct, your USB connection is correct, that everything works all right. So we will basically let this flash and move things so that it can see it better. And while this is flashing, we need to check 2 more things. So one is, of course, which we actually should do before we flash, we should verify that the downloaded file is correct. So for this, we have to actually go to downloads, and then compute the sh sum, so HA sum. So this command can actually look with help what it does and see it has an algorithm switch. So minus a, we can compute the SHA256 checksum, and we need the UlnoIoT Pi image. So we compute now the checksum, and then we need to compare this here with this big number. And let's kind of move this so that we can compare it. And you see it's the same number. So we downloaded the correct one. So, and if you trust me that I don't give any viruses for the Pi out here, then this number guarantees that you got exactly the image I uploaded. So you should do that. And the next thing you would actually need to do is check that the settings for XQuartz are all correct. So let's do that. So for this, you, as you see, I just made sure that the XQuartz is running. So I have it here in the bar, and so I can click on it so that it is open, and then I can check the preferences. And very important is in the pasteboard settings. It's the only thing we have to look at. Make sure you disable it completely, enable it again, then make sure that only the first two, I think usually the first three are on, only the first two here are on. So if you include this one, the first three are selected. Enable syncing, update pasteboard and clipboard changes, and update clipboard when pasteboard changes. That's all you should need to do. And now we can wait for the flashing actually to finish. So I will continue when the flashing has completely finished, and then we will try to log in to the Pi. Okay, let's see if we actually are successful. Yeah, so if your flashing looks like this in the end, you should be successful to have done everything and verified. And so we can close Etcher now. And let's now, now we have to actually take the drive out and put it back in again, because we have to change a little bit, because you want to customize your image so that it is your own Wi-Fi you actually have in there. So see, now it's actually detected, has a boot partition, and now you are there. So open this config.txt, and so be careful, this editor is kind of weird, so it destroys a lot of things, especially quotation marks, so you can't enter quotation marks with this editor. If you have a better programming editor, use that one to make this. So this is a normal configuration text file of the Raspberry Pi, but if you scroll down, you see there are some UlnoIoT specific settings, and especially interesting is this stuff here, where you can set your own Wi-Fi networks. So I can actually customize this for me, and so do this IoT Empire Ulno. I leave the password like Internet of Things, and then if you are in a university setting, actually here you can enter now settings, or if you're at home and want to have a Wi-Fi repeater, you can put stuff in here to make your own network in this Wi-Fi. So my Wi-Fi, and then here you would add the Wi-Fi password. And see actually how it changed the quotation marks, so make sure you remove all the quotation marks here. You only need them when you actually have blanks, spaces in these things. And so if you are in a university or a company setting, you actually have to enable this option here too. So example would be you are in EduRoam, so you would have to put EduRoam in here. And this is then your user password. And here you would put in your user at university.gmu, for example. Then you would need to save this. So I will now change this and not let you look at this for my home setting. So I will put my home data in here, and then I will try to save that. Okay, and now I will have you back. So I save this now. Then you have to unmount this device, eject it, and now you can put it actually in the Raspberry Pi, and then let the Raspberry Pi boot. Then with the Raspberry Pi booted, I will be back with you, and then we can connect to the Raspberry Pi. So let's see if the Raspberry Pi booted up and has our internet. And so if you waited long enough and everything worked well, and you didn't kind of work on the quotation marks or used an editor which is not that weird on macOS, then you should see here this, and this should actually have even internet access. So let's see if we are connected. Yes, we are. So now you can fire up your iTerm 2, and in the iTerm 2 you can connect to the UlnoIoT gateway. So you have to sometimes you have to use a local extension, sometimes not, depends on how many networks you are connected. So usually you will not need the local extension here. So the command is actually SSH, this is secure shell, the user is Pi, and the gateway name is UlnoIoT gateway. At the local, but try it also without. And very important, use the capital dash X, so capital dash X, dash capital X, because this allows you that the clipboard works synchronously with your Mac and the Raspberry Pi in the UlnoIoT environment. So let's do this. The default password is UlnoIoT. You should know this at this point. And if you see that, you have managed to set up your Raspberry Pi correctly. There's one more test we want to do, and this is UlnoIoT upgrade. And this gets the latest version from UlnoIoT. If it doesn't complain that it can't find the GitHub address, then everything works. If it doesn't work, if you came in here, but the internet through this forwarding mechanism doesn't work, try the following. Try sudo editor boot config text. And then you get an editor which supports the mouse. If you roll down in there, check that the quotation marks are correct. So there are no quotation marks here, and so that's why it actually works. Okay, that's it. So, and now we have the device set up. We can log in. So that's all we need at this point. We can also there's one more tool which is actually pretty interesting. I want to show you now. This is the Midnight Commander. If you type in MC and return, you get some kind of file manager which you can use with the mouse, as you see. And if you look in UlnoIoT, there's stuff in here, and you can, for example, go at the README, and then you get also the editor. You can use the mouse in there. You can mark things, and actually if you now use Control-C, not Command-C, Control-C, because this is kind of, the Raspberry Pi is more like a PC, then we are able to, let's take a URL in here, like a MicroPython URL. Then you should have this in your normal clipboard. See? And now you can actually look for documentation. So you can also just say here file exit, and you might have seen that there has this green bar down here, and so this terminal is kind of special. And if you want to know more about this terminal, do press Ctrl A and then H. So hold Control, do an A, and then release both and do A, and then you get a little documentation what you can do here. But that works also from the PC or from Linux, so I will do another video where we can do this then for all platforms. But if you can do this, you can log in here with and see the UlnoIoT in the colorful logo down there, and the clipboard works. Then you have configured everything successful, and from now the Internet of Things will be very close in your reach. Congratulations.